Lauren, as we know, the killings happened yesterday at Devil's Den State Park. The bodies were found at around 2:40 p.m. And this afternoon, Arkansas State Police identified the victims.
Arkansas State Police say a couple was attacked and killed while hiking with their daughters at Devil's Den State Park this weekend. And tonight, we're tracking the urgent search for the suspect.
While there is an urgent search for the suspect, police are asking something from the public. They're asking anybody that was at the park this Saturday to check any photos or videos that they may have taken while there and to inspect those, to check the background and see if you see anything. And if you do, they ask that you immediately report that to the Arkansas State Police.
Arkansas Police releasing a composite sketch in the manhunt for a murder at Devil's Den State Park. Have you heard?
Nestled deep in the Ozark Mountains of northwest Arkansas lies the Devil's Den State Park, a place well known to locals as one of the state's most treasured landmarks. With its striking sandstone bluffs, winding trails, and hidden caverns, it's the kind of place families go to escape the chaos of every day and reconnect with nature. Since the 1930s, generations have hiked, camped, and explored these trails, creating memories in the quiet beauty of Lee Creek Valley. But on a warm Sunday, July afternoon in 2025, that sense of peace was shattered. What began as a family outing turned into a nightmare when two young girls ran into the visitor center, terrified and begging for help. What investigators would soon uncover in those woods was a crime that shocked the community and left an Arkansas family forever changed. Today, we're covering the tragic story of Clinton and Cristen Brink, a couple whose lives were brutally cut short at Devil's Den State Park. This is the Evidence Board podcast, and I'm your host, Alicia Wallace. Disclaimer: this episode contains discussions of violence, murder, and crimes against families that some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is strongly advised. The details shared in this episode are based on publicly available reports, statements, and sources. My goal is to present this case with accuracy, care, and respect for the victims and their loved ones. The opinions expressed are my own, and the content is intended for informational and educational purposes only. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Evidence Board. Today's case is one that really shook me, not only because of how heartbreaking it is, also because of how much misinformation and speculation has already been spread online. Out of respect for the Brink family and in line with the Arkansas State Police have asked, I want to make sure that we're sticking to the facts that have been confirmed by law enforcement and other reliable sources. This case is still ongoing and has not yet gone to trial, which means there are a lot of unanswered questions. Because of that, I'll be covering it in two parts, and in this first video, we'll go through everything we know so far directly from investigators and official reports so that we can separate fact from rumor and keep the focus where it belongs, on Clinton and Cristen, their daughters, and the devastating loss their family has endured. Clinton and Cristen Brink were remembered as a devoted, faith-centered couple. Cristen Amanda Brink, born on June 11th, 1984, was the only daughter in a family of 4 children. In high school, she excelled at volleyball, a sport she would go on to play at both the collegiate and professional levels. Beyond athletics, she pursued education with equal dedication, earning a nursing degree as well as a degree in mathematics. Those who knew her described her as a beacon of care, strong, witty, and deeply compassionate, someone who could always be counted on. Kristen's talents extended well beyond her professional life. She found joy in singing, crocheting, and needlepoint crafts. But above all else, her greatest pride and love was for her husband and their 3 daughters who were at the very center of her world. Clinton David Brink was born on June 14th, 1982, and was cherished by everyone who had the privilege of knowing him. He worked both as a CNA and a delivery driver, earning a reputation among patients and coworkers for his kindness, gentle spirit, and reliability. To his family, Clinton was the one who could always bring laughter, offer comfort, and love them without condition. Recently recognized as Employee of the Month for his work as a CNA, he took great pride in his profession, and his greatest joy came from being a devoted husband and father.
Yeah, right.
Together, Clinton and Cristen were raising 3 beautiful daughters, ages 7, 9, and 17. And with their eldest expecting a child of her own, they were joyfully preparing to step into the role of grandparents for the very first time. Their marriage was described as one built on faith, laughter, and adventure. Whether it was hiking, kayaking, or spending full days at theme parks with their girls, they poured themselves into creating lasting memories as a family. To one another, they were best friends, cheerleaders, and unwavering teammates. The family had just relocated to Arkansas to be closer to family, but the life they worked so hard to build, the love they shared, and the future they looked forward to would soon be shattered by a series of events that no one could have imagined. Devil's Den State Park is considered an Arkansas landmark. Nestled in the Lee Creek Valley and established as a state park in the 1930s, known for its striking rock formations, caverns, and a network of trails that connect to the surrounding Ozark National Forest, it has long been a place where families come to hike and explore the outdoors. But on Saturday, July 26th, 2025, at around 2 p.m., the park became the scene of a tragedy. 2 young girls, just 9 and 7 years old, ran into the visitor center in a panic, telling staff that something had happened to their parents. Those children were the daughters of Cristen and Clinton Brink. When Arkansas State Police arrived, they located the couple's bodies about a half-mile into the park, along one of the hiking trails. Clinton was just 43 years old, and Cristen just 41. Once investigators secured the crime scene, they turned to the Brinks' young daughters to piece together what had happened. The 9 and 7-year-old explained that while the family was hiking, an unidentified white male, described as wearing dark shorts, a dark tank top, and weightlifting-style gloves, suddenly attacked their father with a knife. In that moment, Cristen acted instinctively. She grabbed her daughters and ran toward the visitor center, urging them to get help. When the building came into view, she told the girls to run inside and call the police. Cristen then turned back to try to help her husband. It was there, in her attempt to protect her family, that she was brutally murdered. Investigators continued to canvass the state park, speaking with visitors to determine if anyone had noticed something unusual. One witness reported seeing a man whose appearance matched the description given by the Brinks daughters enter a black, sporty-looking car with its license plate obscured by duct tape. Based on this account, Arkansas State Police released a public statement that same day outlining both the suspect's description and that of the vehicle. They urged anyone with information about the man or his whereabouts to come forward, a plea that resulted in more than 100 tips. From the public appeal, investigators received at least 10 photos and videos of the suspected vehicle captured by visitors that day, along with security footage from nearby homes and businesses. One witness even provided police with a clear image of the suspect, which aligned with the description given by the Brink children. Using this information, authorities created and released a composite sketch. The sketch quickly circulated and generated more than 500 additional tips from the public. Through meticulous investigative work, police began combing through the records of every black sporty sedan that could match the description. One by one, potential leads were eliminated until a vehicle stood out. Investigators determined that the vehicle they were looking for was a black Kia Stinger. Tracing its registration, they uncovered the name of its owner, 28-year-old Andrew James McGann. Just 2 hours after identifying the suspect on Wednesday, July 30th at 4:57 p.m., police moved in. Andrew James McGann was arrested at Lupita's Beauty Salon in Springdale, Arkansas, while getting a haircut and was charged with 2 counts of capital murder. Surveillance footage of the arrest shows McGann remaining calm and compliant, though officers noted several cuts on his hands. That same evening, investigators executed a search warrant at his home where they uncovered multiple knives and clothing consistent with the description provided by witnesses. A warrant was also carried out on his vehicle, a black Kia Stinger, with forensic testing pending at this time. At the crime scene, authorities had collected blood that did not belong to anyone in the Brink family, suggesting the killer had been injured during the attack. This finding aligned with the wounds observed on McGann's hands. Once detained, investigators investigators obtained his DNA, which was confirmed as a match to the foreign blood recovered at the scene. During questioning, McGann made statements that investigators described as not an outright confession, but as an admission of guilt. At this time, police have stated they are fully confident that Andrew McGann is responsible for the murders of Clinton and Cristen Brink. Investigators believe he acted alone, and so far, there is no evidence to suggest that McGann knew the couple personally. Authorities have indicated that the attack appears to have been random. Tragically, Clinton and Cristen were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Andrew James McGann grew up in the 6000 block of West 55th Street in Garfield Ridge, a quiet neighborhood in southeast Chicago. In high school, he played rugby and football and graduated from Fenwick High School in Oak Park in 2015. According to his former teammate, Pat Bailey remembers Andrew, known to friends and family as Andy, as someone who led by example. He and his teammates always cracked jokes, and Andrew seemed like a totally normal guy. Records show that Andrew McGann earned his bachelor's degree in elementary education from Oklahoma State University in the spring of 2022. That fall, he began his first teaching position at Donald Elementary in Flower Mound, Texas for the 2022-2023 school year. Concerns about McGann's behavior soon emerged. One parent, Lindsay Polyak, whose child was in his class, described him as a sick pervert. She recalled her child telling her that McGann would tickle young girls during class. Quote, "I started hearing other things from parents whose kids were in his classroom full time. They alleged that during lunch, when most of the children went to the cafeteria, he would invite certain girls to stay behind and eat with him in his classroom." End quote. According to parents, these concerns were reported to the school, but they were largely swept under the rug. McGann was eventually placed on administrative leave before quietly resigning midway through the 2022-2023 school year. After leaving Donald Elementary, Andrew McGann secured another teaching position for the 2023-2024 school year as a 5th grade teacher at Spring Creek Elementary in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. The following year, he taught 5th grade at Northwood Fine Arts Academy in Sand Springs during the 2024-2025 school year. By the summer of 2025, McGann had relocated to Springdale, Arkansas, where he was set to begin a new teaching position with the Springdale Public Schools. His orientation was scheduled for the week following the murders of Clinton and Cristen Brink. In the wake of his arrest, each school district issued public statements. A spokesperson for Broken Arrow Public Schools confirmed that McGann taught at Spring Creek during the 23-24 school year before resigning voluntarily. They emphasized that he had passed all state and district background checks prior to being hired and that no disciplinary actions were recorded during his time there. The district also acknowledged the understandable concern from parents sending letters to families whose children may have been in contact with McGann and assured them of counseling resources and full cooperation with law enforcement. Sand Springs Public Schools also confirmed McGann's employment at Northwood Fine Arts Academy during the 24-25 school year, stating he resigned at the end of the year to move out of state. Like Broken Arrow, the district stressed that McGann had cleared all required background checks and that student safety remained their highest priority. Despite the school's assurances, McGann's frequent moves between districts have raised questions. Some speculate whether red flags were overlooked or quietly handled in ways that left no record. Parents, however, maintain that if he had been fired or formally disciplined, those records would have prevented him from securing future teaching positions. At this time, investigators have found no evidence that McGann committed any illegal acts during his tenure as a teacher. Still, the pattern of movement and unanswered questions surrounding his past continue to fuel speculation about potential motives for the murders. Andrew McGann has been formally charged with 2 counts of capital murder. Prosecuting attorney Brandon Carter has announced that the state intends to pursue the death penalty in this case. On August 14, 2025, McGann appeared before a judge where he was formally advised of his rights and assigned a court-appointed attorney. He entered a plea of not guilty, and his next court date has been scheduled for November 14, 2025. 2025 for a pretrial hearing. In addition to the charges filed in Arkansas, investigators are now looking into whether Andrew McGann could be connected to other unsolved murders that share disturbing similarities to the attack on Clinton and Cristen Brink. One of those cases is the 2020 murder of 24-year-old John Schmutzer in Sauk County, Wisconsin. On October 14th, John was hiking along Grottoes Trail at Devil's Lake State Park when he was killed around 11:30 a.m. Witnesses later reported seeing a man running frantically from the area, roughly 6 feet tall, slender to average build, wearing ripped dark pants and a dark top described as, quote, not standard running apparel, end quote. The man appeared unstable, falling multiple times as he fled. Investigators noted at the time the suspect may have been struggling with mental health issues or substance abuse. John's murder remains unsolved to this day. Another case now under review is the murder of 77-year-old Honore Fleming in Castleton, Vermont. On October 5th, 2023, she set out for her regular afternoon walk along the Delaware and Hudson Rail Trail. Just 30 minutes later, she was found dead. Multiple witnesses described a suspicious man in the area, a white male in his 20s, about 5'10", with short red hair, wearing a dark gray t-shirt and carrying a black backpack. A composite sketch was released, but like John's case, Honore's murder also remains unsolved. The parallels between these cases and the Brink murders are difficult to overlook. Each victim was attacked while walking or hiking on a public trail in broad daylight by a man fitting a similar profile. The assaults were sudden, unprovoked, and left entire communities shaken. While police have not confirmed a direct connection between McGann and these unsolved cases, they are exploring the possibility that the Brink investigation could shed light on other trail killings. As of August 28, 2025, a judge signed an order prohibiting multiple agencies, including Arkansas Game and Fish, Arkansas State Parks and Tourism, Arkansas State Police, the Children's Safety Center of Washington County, the Department of Homeland Security, local police departments, the FBI, the U.S. Marshal Service, and the Washington County Sheriff's Office from publicly discussing the case. The order was issued to protect the integrity of the proceedings and to ensure McGann receives a fair trial. Since then, no additional information has been released to the public. This case is deeply frustrating for many reasons, but for me, the question that lingers the most is why? From what we know so far, this appears to have been a random, senseless attack on a completely innocent family. And Clinton and Cristen are not the only victims in this case. Their 3 daughters, their soon-to-be grandchild, their family, and their friends are now left to navigate life with an unthinkable loss, the sudden absence of 2 people who meant everything to them. At this point, investigators have not identified a clear motive. Some have speculated that Andrew may have targeted the girls, or that he was lying in wait, hidden along the trail, planning to strike at the next passerby. Maybe he had been following the family closely, waiting for the right moment. But the truth is, we don't know. And we won't know more about this case until it goes to trial and more details are revealed to the public. My heart goes out to the Brink family, especially Clinton and Kristen's young daughters. I cannot imagine the pain of not only witnessing such a horror, but now navigating life without the both of your parents. These girls will clearly need as much love and support as they can, so if there are any ongoing fundraisers, I will link them in the description below. This case is still developing, and with the trial ahead, we know there's much more to come. What are your thoughts so far? Do you believe this was truly a random attack, or do you think there's more to the story that we don't know? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this case once it goes to trial. I'll be recapping everything as it unfolds. In the meantime, as new updates come in, I'll be posting them to TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, so be sure to follow me there and stay up to date. All of the links will be in the description below. Prefer the audio version? Well, you can now listen to every episode on Spotify, and if you're already listening to today's episode on Spotify, hello, please take a moment to rate the show 5 stars. It really helps me continue bringing these stories to light. And if you missed last week's case, make sure to check it out. It's definitely not one that you want to miss. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never stop seeking the truth.